Who am I talking with?
Chang.
Chang. And what do you do?
So I build knowledge platforms for lawyers to do legal research and knowledge management.
Okay, what does that mean?
Okay, so when lawyers want to do research, they search beyond.
Make sure you talk up loud so I get it.
So they search for external documents, and more importantly, they also want to search for internal documents.
How long have you been doing it?
It's about 2.5 years.
Okay. How did you get started with that idea?
So I used to practice law in Singapore.
Yeah.
So I did litigation and arbitration in one of Singapore's big 4 firms. And when I thought I'd just join a big firm, I'll be supported by lots of materials.
Right.
But I realized the information infrastructure doesn't really support that.
Okay.
Yeah. So once a piece of work is done, it's forgotten because it's difficult to retrieve, and junior lawyers like myself would start all over again. And I wanted to change that.
And so did you just quit the firm and start this, or what did you do?
So after law practice, I actually joined the government.
Okay.
So I was in the Singapore Prime Minister's office doing venture capital investments.
Really?
And startup related policy. Yeah, so just want to learn more about the startup ecosystem. Yeah, so that was during the time where at night and during the weekend I tried to build something with my co-founder. Say, let's try and tackle this law problem. It was a bit painful back then. Yeah, so about 2.5 years ago we came out full time with a group of people, engineers, data scientists, and lawyers.
How'd you get the capital to start it where you had to hire those people?
So it's all from our savings.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So bootstrapped.
Everything bootstrapped.
Everything bootstrapped.
Are you still bootstrapped? Now you do it with obviously have revenue, but have you taken on an investment or you've done it all from yourselves?
So we have taken external money.
Okay.
One small round.
Okay.
About 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does it look? I'm just curious. You don't have to get into all the details as to whether that round will allow you to get to where you go, or do you think you'll have to keep raising more money?
So we're in the process of raising our next round.
Okay.
So this will be our second round. So we're quite prudent with the way we raise money.
Okay.
Yeah, we just want to be capital efficient.
When you had this idea, was it clear to you that this would work, or did you have when you got out there and you started developing, you had some doubts? I mean, some entrepreneurs would just be so clear. This has got to be done. Could be improved. Things could be better. I know I can be successful at this. How clear was that to you?
Well, not very. Yeah, it's not that clear to be honest. Yeah, I was just trying to solve a problem that I faced personally, and I would just extrapolate the idea. Am I the only person facing such a problem? And I was asking around, people do face this problem, and I thought this going to be the case. The way we practice law, the way we search for information,
right,
or the way we approach textbooks is still very classical. Nothing has changed for the past 100 years. I felt that couldn't be the case. But whether my solution is really that clear-cut to be the solution, I'm not so sure. And we were still figuring out as we go along as a team. Yeah.
Are you a technologist by background at all?
So I'm not a coder.
Yeah, and people they'll ask me that. Oh, wait a second, how do you start this legal tech thing when you're not a coder, you're not a developer? How do you do that? What do you do?
So, but my co-founder, she
was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry?
Your co-founder was?
My co-founder, yeah, she understands technology.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's our main product manager. She reads code, and that's why we assemble a team of developers to build this together. And interestingly, our engineers actually did their master's degree in NLP in the legal field. So we are talking to engineers who have come into contact with legal text and legal documents. So we're kind of lucky that way.
How'd you build a name for the company as you did it? I mean, how'd you get out and just get people to know about it, talk about it, have a chance that you could sell them the solution, the product? How'd you do that?
So in the early days, it's really word of mouth.
Yep.
So in Singapore, we approach our previous firms that we work for.
Right.
Yeah, and try to get more people. Of course, the law schools as well, the major institutions in the legal, what we call the legal fraternity. So if you check out our name, INTELLEX, we have 3 L's. It actually stands for the common law legal fraternity, the law schools, the law firms, and the law courts. And that's basically how we started trying to market our product.
And now we're in Washington, D.C., and you're at the International Legal Technologies Association conference. Are you taking your product outside Singapore to use it, or where are you taking it to?
So our algorithm is based on really the English common law philosophy of aggregation and association.
Yep.
So we deal with content from Hong Kong, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. So we don't do much for US law.
Huge markets in and of themselves. I mean, the aggregately, those are largely the United States.
Well, it's about the same. Yeah. So this is our first time as a company in the US, because you guys have a more mature market, and that's why we're here to learn and to check out check out the ecosystem here.
Was there a time when you thought maybe this isn't going to work, and I might be going back to
Law practice?
law practice?
Well, along the way,
Along the way.
there are some doubts. When law firms come tell us, no. You guys look interesting, and we really hate the word interesting. You guys look interesting. Your technology is interesting, and that is also to mean we're not going to use you. We're going to sign you up. When we realize the level of adoption for technology is actually way slower than we expected it to be. It can be discouraging at sometimes, but this is our conviction, and that's why we're entrepreneurs. We think the way forward with technology to assist and enhance the way law is being practiced, as opposed to replacing lawyers.
And that word conviction is so important. It's that belief that this has got to work. We have a better way forward. We can use this innovation technology. Was there a time when you realized this is going to work? And maybe you're always still pushing the rock up the hill. Was there a time when you said, okay, this is going to work? The firms, it's beginning to resonate. We're beginning to sell. Was there a moment?
Oh yes, definitely. So in fact, that's in 2018.
Yeah.
So this year, we've gotten, of course, our technology improved significantly. So there are a few number of breakthroughs. For example, we allow users to search by issues into their internal documents. That feature actually got the attention of many of the big firms in Singapore, and when we started to promote it in London, the London firms responded very positively as well. So initially, people were always thinking, "Oh, you guys are search. This is just a search engine. Are you guys in e-discovery?" People couldn't really wrap their heads around the idea of knowledge management. But the concept of doing knowledge management, where knowledge is one of the assets of a law firm, is beginning to take shape. People, law firms were thinking, "Okay, how do I protect my own IP? How do I generate more revenue from my IP?" And therefore, management of knowledge becomes one of their priorities now.
In the law, traditionally, there's been these huge companies, the Walters Kluwer and the Reed Elsevier and Thomson Reuters. It was West before them. I can't imagine that 20 years ago you had this many relatively small legal technology companies that have the eye of law firms and law shops inside corporations. What do you see for the role of smaller companies like yours playing important roles for major law firms around the world, vis-a-vis, as opposed to having LexisNexis, Reed Elsevier, Walters Kluwer? In Australia, it would have been Butterworth. Everything.
So those big companies you mentioned are actually mostly content-based companies.
Okay.
So small companies like us, we actually focus on one specific use case or a pain point, and develop technology that trying to solve that problem. So I guess as the ecosystem matures, small companies like us tackle the problem from different points of view, but on one angle, and trying to solve that problem. Like in our case, really, knowledge management, internal search, a very specific problem.
What would you tell somebody that is in a law firm today, has been noodling around with an idea or in law school and thinking about going and starting a legal technology company? What would your advice be for them?
If you decided, don't look back.
If
you decided, don't look back.
When I started I let my law licenses go because I didn't want to have the chance to go back. Because of that point, I thought if I had the chance to go back, I would start to look back. That's great advice. It's great chatting with you. So if people want to find out more about the company, they just go to INTELLEX, read about it, look at the background, and the sweet spot for the countries is Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore,
the UK, New Zealand.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What a great story.